with the FJ, we wanted to set up some stuff and find some creative solutions. The ARB air jack, that thing's great. That big orange marshmallow you can shove anywhere you want under the vehicle, and using the Extreme Outback air compressor, lift that thing up. Now you can change a tire. Now you can get unstuck under sand, out of sand. If you're high centered, it lifts you up, and you can do it from the comfort of a wheelchair. You clip on the little air chuck and you just sit there, and you have a margin of safety watching the vehicle go up. You're not concentrating on a mechanical jack. You're able to just sit and watch. Make sure you don't further disable yourself. The Pillow Tracks traction mats, these are from Israel. These are a brand new product that are just coming on the market. They give you traction in sand, snow, mud, and then you put a little air in through the nozzle, fills up the bladder, and now you have a way to go up a step, to fill in a hole, to give you a little bit of kind of a bridging letter essence. The Pull Pal is a land anchor. In the desert Southwest, there's just nowhere that you're going to be able to hook a winch to if you get stuck unless you have the ability to set this up. What we found is that manufacturers like Warren and Ramsey have wireless controllers for their winch. So even a guy in a wheelchair can set this in the ground using his wireless controller, make sure it's anchored down, and he can recover the vehicle from the point of safety being away. He's not limited by how far the cable is. He can remove himself, again, from further injury. The cot, that ties in with like the awning. If somebody doesn't want to hassle with a tent, either rooftop or ground, this has walls that go up. You put your cot here and you can move from the vehicle to this room, and it gives you some privacy for bladder control, for hygiene, for anything that you need to do. Guys like me as an amputee, believe it or not, skin care is just the most important thing out there. A little bit of sand, a little blister, I can't walk anymore, I'm done. So the ability to have a little stainless steel tank that you can put on a stove, heat up some water, take a shower. If you're in a wheelchair, you're bearing all your weight down here. You're gonna get hot and sweaty. If you don't have good hygiene, blisters, skin sores, all those things that would be a problem. That might be what makes you think, I don't want to go camping. How do I maintain my hygiene? No, there you go. You can shower yourself up. You can wash dishes. You can do all that. You don't have to lug a big jerry can around. Everyone has to go to the bathroom. Sooner or later, it's got to happen. As high functioning as I am, I still will fall right off of that thing. Go to Goodwill, get a $5 used walker. Now I have some stability when I want to take my shower, when I want to go to the bathroom. Gives me a nice little safe foundation. And of course, nobody can go camping without having a campfire. But if you have one arm, if you're in a wheelchair lugging that firewood around, nah, it's just more trouble than it's worth. You're not having fun. There's also no smoke off of the Fire Dancer's propane fire pit's great. You're not worried about moving your wheelchair around the fire all the time. The Max Tracks, those just came in, and we went out with myself and another gentleman in a wheelchair, buried his vehicle to the frame in gravel, and he was able to use the hand holds on them to dig out a little bit, set them under the tires, and drive right out. But we found the little life solution to them is to take a little bit of cord, tie through the little hole, secure it to the back bumper, drive yourself to a point of nice environment before you have to get out and get them. Because nothing's worse than being stuck in mud and then have to go right back to the mud to get your traction assisted device. So we look for that little life solution, that little thing that makes it easier. The Tuffy storage drawer, it's operable by one hand, and that's one thing I like about it, is it holds all your gear and it glides. It just absolutely glides out. Allows you to store everything in a way that you can get stuff back out and then close it back up, and it's a secure environment. If you have medications, if someone was to break into this vehicle and I was insulin dependent and they stole my medications, that would be a severe trip stopper for me. But if I knew I could keep a supply in a safe environment, and if I'm in another country and they're not getting in here, it takes that little bit of fear away. All those excuses that keep you from getting out on the trail, that's what we're trying to solve. The refrigerator, it's kind of in the same category. If you have temperature sensitive meds, if your concern is, oh, lugging that cooler was always a nightmare, grabbing those bags of ice. One arm and I'm trying to handle the bag of ice and open the cooler, carry a fridge with you. Nothing's better than being on the trail and you pull out something nice cold for around the campfire. Some of the things that we have, the camera system, absolutely, that's straight for the disabled community. But some things you wouldn't really think of, like a dual battery. A dead battery to a guy who can't hike out is much more significant than a dead battery to a guy that can. So a dual battery system, off the top of your head, you wouldn't think, well, that's something, you know, for the disabled market, but it's that much more important to not have a failure out there. Quality componentry, any of the parts that are on there, from the aluminous bumper to the Warren winch, are the quality products that aren't going to fail. Because for a guy who can't get himself out any other way, failure is a tragedy. It's not worthwhile. Lighting, we have PIA lights on the vehicle, because for me, in Arizona, as hot as it is, I love to go out at night and do a night run. But if I step out onto a rock and I take a fall, even as a high-functioning amputee, that if I break my prosthetic, I'm done. That's an $18,000 prosthetic, and insurance won't just buy another one. So having lighting around the vehicle so that when I stop, I can see my landscape and make sure that this is a good area to get out of the vehicle or move a little forward, or just to see what's going on in the terrain in front of me. Most hand control manufacturers think in terms of highway driving. You're going to hit the gas or you're going to hit the brake, but you're never going to need to do both unless you're in an off-road environment where you use a technique called left foot braking. You want some throttle control, you want the engine giving you some more torque, but you don't want to be flying forward. You want to use the brakes to give you control. As an amputee, I struggled with that because I don't have the sensation to left foot brake. So I was bouncing around, beating my skid plates until we got the Sure Grip hand controls, and I actually use these when I off-road, especially in a rock environment where I'm going over, because I drive better with these because I can now apply the brake and the throttle at the same time. The other thing we like about them is they're a mechanical system. No electronics, no risk for failure, no fancy involvement. They adapt to any vehicle, even the side-by-sides that are becoming really popular. Sure Grip makes a model for those. Now, having a quality first aid kit has nothing to do with the fact that, you know, I'm wilderness EMT level or a nurse. It has to do with the fact that anyone can fall down and get hurt. You know, and being disabled, you have to recognize the fact that you're at a higher risk. It's not an embarrassment. It's not, you know, feel pity for me because I'm more likely to trip and fall. It's recognize, adapt to your situation, overcome it by saying, you know what, I'm just going to have a better first aid kit, something that can handle blisters on my residual limb, something that can handle skin issues, and buy quality. So it's not gonna, you're not going to open it up and everything's going to fall apart and they're leaked out and the medication's not going to be any good for you. Radio products are the same way. Buy a quality ham radio, wired up right. Know that when you need it, it's going to reach out for the help. Nothing here is insurmountable. None of the gear is a must-have. It just solves those little problems, those little things. As soon as someone shows the initiative and says they want to, we'll find a solution. Wherever we have to go around the world, and this overlanding community is great. We put a problem out there and some manufacturer let those gears start spinning. They'll find a way to help us out.